Hey everyone, this is Randy, host of the Highest Version podcast. I'm doing something new, and that is giving you guys an insight on what the episode is going to be about, giving my own perspective, and also giving a good summarization of what you should expect in this episode. So I brought back the 3-pillar question, basically. 1, what is something that has helped me become the highest version of myself? 2, what is something I'm currently working on to become the highest version of myself? And 3, something that I wish I knew sooner. In this episode, I dive deep into understanding how complaining is a hindrance to our growth mindset and becoming the highest version of ourselves. 2, I talk about how I'm working on to believing and trusting in myself and finding ways to do that in healthy ways. And lastly, talking about understanding that other people's perspective of you is not your responsibility. You could be the hero in someone else's story, but you also could be the villain in another, and how to navigate that throughout your own life. So I really hope you guys enjoy this episode, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Highest Version Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Highest Version Podcast. I'm your host, Philavong, a mental health enthusiast and someone that's just trying to get 1% better every single day. On this podcast, we talk about falling in love with the process of getting better every day, becoming the highest version of ourselves. Today, I want to bring back a format that I have had on our earlier solo episode, and it had 3 question pillars to it. 1, what is something that has helped me become the highest version of myself today? 2, what is something that I'm currently working on to become the highest version of myself? And 3, what is something that I wish I knew sooner in life? So let's not waste any minutes. Let's get it. One of the best things I learned to become the highest version of myself is understanding that complaining gets you nowhere. When we complain, we are speaking words into existence or in the air, and it absolutely leads to nothing if there is no actionable items. We are putting ourselves in a position that is victim to the situation that made us feel that certain way. When we are in the victim mindset, we are giving away our power to that situation and believing that we have no utter control or any type of factor that we can control from our point of view. You can think of situations where you're like, oh, it sucks that this person doesn't like me back. Or, oh my gosh, the traffic is so freaking long. Or, hey, my job sucks. These are all things that are common complaints that we hear on a daily basis, or something maybe even you complain about on an almost weekly or daily basis. Neuroscience studies show that complaining does these certain things to your brain. 1, it just leads you to look for more things to complain about. 2, releases stress hormones within your brain. And 3, you really are just looking at life in a more negative mindset. Now, I'm not trying to invalidate how you feel, because when we run into certain situations that make us frustrated or angry, and we have to speak those words of, complaining, they are valid feelings. But I don't want you to sulk in that for so long. Because when we sulk in that for so long, we kind of get carried away, and then we don't think of what we can do to solve that issue or problem or situation. We kind of just leave it. Therefore, we are complaining with no steps to move forward. So how do we combat complaining? Here are 3 steps that have really helped me when I understood that I am in this complaining/victim mindset. The first step I want you to do is to have a journal or have your voice recording available on your phone and write down that complaint or speak that complaint into your phone. This gives you the time to really express how you feel. And I say give yourself like 5 to 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes is really pushing it, but giving yourself that time to really express the anger and frustrations that you feel about this certain situation that's making you feel this way. After you've done that, put down that journal, put down that phone, and take a deep breath. We want to release a lot of that tension out of our body from that complaining or having those negative feelings about the situation that you are currently in. The third step is to really look at what you wrote or listen back to the voice memo that you had and understand what can you control from that situation. Now let's break this down with examples. Let's take the relationship and dating space, for example. Say you are going on dates with this person, you really like them, and then you get to the point of defining their relationship. When you get to that point, you get the bad news that person doesn't feel the certain way, or they want to move on to someone else that they're also dating. Honestly, you're going to run into those moments. It's heartbreaking and it sucks. But what we can control in that situation, instead of sulking and complaining about, oh my gosh, like why couldn't this person just love me or want to be in a relationship with me? We can understand what we can control in that moment. And what I believe in that situation you can control is, hey, I have these feelings of grief and loss because I really like this person and I really thought things were going somewhere. But now that they have told me that they don't want to be in a certain relationship, you're going through a grief and loss. How do I control, or how do I heal from this sense of feeling grief and loss from the news that I've heard from this other person? What you can do is rebuild yourself, all that time that you use going on dates with that person or whatever, taking time away for yourself to really, work on yourself, whatever that may mean. Maybe go pick up a new hobby, or, go work out, go do some movement, or talk to some friends that you sacrifice that time on dates, and using that you sacrifice those time on those days and using that time to hang out with your friends and rekindle those relationships again. So there are those situations where you really can control how you feel and control what you can do to move forward. Let's take another example. A very common example is traffic. Say you go through your entire workday, you got through so many tasks, but it was also a really stressful day. And now you have to deal with this freaking traffic, this Boston traffic. Now you could do one of two things. You can take that time or minutes, however long the commute is, and yell at people or get yourself almost in an accident because you're trying to switch the fastest lane, which by the way never freaking works. Or you can use that time to put on your favorite playlist or try to discover new music. Spotify has this release radar that you can listen to new music, or listen to your favorite podcast, aka the highest version podcast. Thank you. Wink, wink. We have the ability to control those minutes and time during that traffic commute. So again, understanding what we can control in the situation, taking what is in the moment, and figure out what we can do to either move forward or make the best of it. Now let's take one last example. One thing about the job market, or have a feeling that your job sucks and you hate your job. Now I understand, right? The job market from external factors could be really, really bad. And this is something that's helping you pay your bills, of course, paying the things that you need to. If you are financially conditioned enough or have financially healthy enough where you can combat both school and work to figure out what you truly want to do, that's great. Or ask if you can shadow people from your outside of your department to figure out, hey, maybe that's something that I could do, or that's something that I didn't even realize was an opportunity at my company. I feel there's multiple avenues for this where you can not keep having this mindset of, oh, my job sucks. Oh, I have to go to my job. You can find ways to make it enjoyable for you, or figure out a different avenue to have new opportunities. Now, I understand it's easier said than done. And it may be different on your circumstance depending, what you need to do, what that job does for you. But I just feel like we can control what we can't control and make an opportunity out of these hard situations that we are going through. I was talking to a friend, and they helped me understand that nothing is set in stone besides our birth and our death. We have to take what is in the moment and control what we can control and make the best of that situation, because life is always going to throw us these curveballs, these things that don't make us feel great about ourselves or don't make us feel great about our situation. And instead of putting out words out there and absolutely doing nothing about it, we can take the time to control what we can and make actions to move forward or make the best of the situation that we are currently in. We all know, we've all been around someone that complains a lot, complains about this, complains about that. That's all they do. And they do absolutely nothing about it. I mean, absolutely nothing. And it's frustrating, right? Because they are putting their negativity onto you. And that's something that you didn't even ask for. Now you are starting to kind of bleed into, hey, what are some negative things in my life that I'm looking to complain about? Now there's this difference of venting or expressing your feelings to another friend. It's all right. Do that. Take that as step one of what I talked about earlier on how to combat complaining. But maybe turning the conversation right after and saying, hey, what do you think I should do to help myself in the situation? Or what, if you were in my position, what can I do? There are ways to turn these conversations from no actionable items to possibly actionable items. And I just feel like there always is a way. There always is a way. We have to understand that complaining is something that's going to hinder our growth mindset. When we complain, we have a victim mindset, which is where we basically take or give up all of our control of the certain situation that's making us feel that way to complain. And if we do that, we're not going to grow. We're not going to do behaviors that support becoming the highest version of ourselves because we are staying at a stagnant position. Not only that, but complaining will release stress hormones and put yourself in a position where you have a negative mindset. And that is something that I know all of us don't want for the rest of our lives. So let's do what we can, take our situation, make the best of it, control what we can, and find a way to keep moving forward. All right, guys, let's move on to pillar number 2. Something that I'm currently working on is believing and trusting in myself. I can confidently say the thing that I feel like I have had a lot of confidence and trust and belief within myself is anything related to my career. Knock on wood here, but I feel like I've done a really good job with navigating my career ever since the age of 8 when I planned hitting these certain milestones. And at least in the earlier part of my career, I was able to do that. I have that confidence. I know I have what it takes to get in the positions or jobs that I really want to be a part of. Now, outside of that, when it comes to speaking up for myself or giving my opinion, I have absolutely no confidence in that. I've realized that the kind of environment that I grew up in with my family in my childhood, I was basically always in a position where I would suggest something of saying, hey, we should do this, or hey, what do you think about that? And honestly, when I look back at it at the time, it basically set me up to fail to have any kind of confidence in myself. Honestly, I've grown this insecurity of feeling like I'm dumb or feeling like I'm stupid because that was the feedback that I was getting from them. Kind of more of like shameful, like why would you think of it that way? Or come on, like use your brain use your brain like you're smart. And it's like, whoa, like I think I am doing or what I think is the best. Having that trauma put aside, dealing with that insecurity and figuring out now what are the things that I can do to put belief and trust in myself. An earlier episode, a guest episode, I was talking with my friend Aline, and she talked about this saying about, hey, if you really trust yourself, nothing could go wrong. And I think what she's hinting at is like, because you're believing intuition, because you're having this authentic decision that is coming out of you or your first instinct, that is something that you actually wanted to do. And you just have to trust yourself, no matter the outcome of it, that is something that you wanted, or whatever decision it was, like that's the one that you truly wanted to do without any sugarcoating, without trying to please other people. And I think that is something that she taught me during that episode. So revisiting that trauma just a little bit, you can imagine 18 years of that bullshit was not something that was supporting my confidence level or believing in myself and the decisions that I'm making. Yes, I'll make mistakes. Yes, I'll have dumb ideas sometimes, but it wasn't met with compassion and grace because, of course, that is something that my Asian immigrant parents don't understand. It's just more straight, blunt, straight to it. But that's not how my brain works. Basically, my confidence down the drain as a start. So what I'm doing today to ensure that I can build that is going from this mindset of not just being confident, but being confident that I'm able to deal with whatever outcome, good or bad, of the decision that I made, and understanding that everything will work itself out after that. That's something that I heard from a podcast and that really resonated with me because I feel like we always talk about, hey, how to be confident. What does confidence mean? And I feel that's such a different perspective on what we feel like confidence is. So just to say that again, being confident means believing that whatever outcome or decision that you make, you are strong enough to deal with whatever that outcome is. And when you think about it, that truly is confidence because you understand that, hey, this is a decision that I'm making, or this is the route that I really want to go. I trust myself to be able to navigate through the obstacles and problems within it, good or bad. and understand that whether I pivot or not, that I believe in myself to make the right decisions in the moment and to be able to take failures and obstacles and making sure that, you are keeping yourself moving forward and always growing. I'm going with that mindset now, and how I'm applying that to my daily life is, finding opportunities to speak up for myself. So whether that's, expression about how I feel about something that angered me or I didn't like, speaking up about that and expressing my feelings. 2, giving actual opinions when it comes to like, friend hangouts or, where are we going to eat? We've all been in that situation where everyone's like, should we eat here? Should we eat there? Should we do this? Should we do that? So it's like 10 to 15 minutes of figuring out what the F that we are going to do. So actually giving my opinion so that people can have a foundation or basis of like, hey, what about Rainey's suggestions or complete not. Either way, I spoke up to give my preference, and that's something that I haven't done before. The last one really is on a daily basis is just really to learn to say no to certain things. That's tough for me because I'm such a people pleaser, and also the main point of no really would be like towards like social hangouts. So if I have to edit a video or I'm working on a concept or working on a script, learning to say no to friends so that I can do the things that I need to do to build my brand. And I think that's something that my friends would understand and would completely support. And I'm just lucky to have friends in a community that will help me with that. To add on top of this, I spoke to another friend that was a guest on this episode, Kyle, and we talked about how, in order to be successful, we have to move and operate in the way where we feel like we are going to be successful, or we already are successful at the thing that we are striving for. And you hear a lot about this from like athletes or other professional careers when thinking about different mindsets to make yourself successful. And that is really truly believing or manifesting or putting yourself in the position of someone who you already want to be where they want to be, and think about the decisions that they're going to make to get to that point. I probably talked about this a lot, or maybe haven't mentioned it before, but with building with this brand, I've had a lot of doubts. Do people actually care what I'm talking about? Are people actually liking my content? Should I even continue this? These are all doubts that are running through my head, and how I'm operating with the actions that I'm doing in terms of like, the things that I should be doing, with scripts, editing on time, filming, etc., etc. If I keep having these hesitations, I'm not going to be successful in the goal that I want to do. So I need to shift my mindset of like, hey, this is going to work. We just need to figure out these certain things, these certain concepts. Look at the analytics, believe in myself that I'm able to do this, because any sort of doubt or hesitation is just going to put me in imposter syndrome or going to leave me less motivated to do certain things. So by having that certain mindset of we have to operate in that I'm already successful in it, or I'm going to be successful in it, will help me build a confidence to keep going, to keep striving, to kind of light that fire within so that I can actually reach the goal that I'm actually striving for. So with anything that you do, trust yourself. Practice believing and trusting your decisions, and that you are confident enough to handle the consequences that are going to come your way, good or bad. Believe that you will achieve the goal that you are striving for, or else you are going to have hesitations and doubt flood your mind, which will stop you from getting to where you truly want to be. If any of y'all are also going through this, trust me, it's a long road and it's a hard road to get through. But I believe in you. I believe in myself that I can get to where I want to be. It's just going to take time and trust within myself. Let's get this shit together. And the last pillar of this episode is something I wish I knew sooner. And the thing that I wish I knew sooner was that in some people's stories, I'm the hero, and in some other people's stories, like I'm most likely the villain. And the thing that sucks about that is, of course, I don't want to be labeled as a villain. I don't want to be on the bad side of people's perspective. However, there are moments in my life, that I'm not proud of, or decisions I've made that I'm not proud of, and have hurt people that I've cared about. Most likely, I'm probably the villain in that person's story. And it sucks. It sucks, right? I crave to be the hero, course, going back to my people pleasing tendencies, I crave to be the hero because I want to be loved. And who doesn't want to be loved, right? But I truly understand that I can't uphold that, good halo mentality in everybody's mind. It's just not a journey worth going through / a journey that's only going to end in misery. It's kind of like, trying to be perfect or having a perfectionist mindset. As people, we have to understand that we are going to disagree on certain topics, have different opinions on different topics, and that's honestly okay. Someone may take your actions or something that you did poorly, and if you acted with your best intentions, you didn't want to hurt the person, you did what's best for you, you basically had, or didn't harm anyone in the process, actually harm anyone in the process. I think you did everything you could to, again, make decisions that were best for you, but maybe not best for someone else. Or you learn from that situation of, hey, like, that's something that I shouldn't do moving forward. Again, that perspective that person has of you is not your responsibility. And that's something that's really hard, at least from my end, hard to understand, because that's something that I thought I could control. But in reality, I can't. I really can't, no matter how much I really want to. I can explain myself. I can say this, and that, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, the only thing I can control is my own feelings and not how other people perceive of me. Really understanding that this is who I am as a person, and whatever that person perspective that they may have, like Mel Robbins said, you have to let them, because you understand who you are, and you understand, again, going back to who you are as a person, and the thing that you did is just, a mistake or whatever it may be that you can learn from, and you're just going to do what you can to keep moving forward. We have to absolutely understand that we cannot make everyone happy. We are going to be judged, criticized, all the above, and we just have to let that happen, unless it is something that is breaking your values or whatever it may be. Having that confrontation or conversation is up to you. But again, that perspective or those feelings that someone has towards you is not your responsibility. Now, I'm not saying to not be open to criticism and reviews and whatnot, right? Think about who you are as a person and your values, and hear what that person is saying. If it aligns, or if it's just bullshit, let it be bullshit. But if it's something that you may catch you off guard, or maybe I should reflect and think about this. Did I do something wrong? How can I switch something up? You can absolutely do that. That is a decision that's on you. The biggest emphasis on here that I want to emphasize is, again, we are just not responsible for how other people perceive us. Again, being the villain in someone else's story sucks, but what we can do in this life is do our best, try to understand and reflect on what we can do to help ourselves become better every single day. Understand that we are going to be judged, criticized, etc., etc. But when it comes down to it, having a great understanding of who you are as a person and your values is something that would take you a long way and will help you understand what's bullshit versus something that's something that you should really reflect on. So I really hope something resonated with you guys in this episode, whether it is something that's helping you become the highest version of yourself, or something that had, made you feel some type of way in terms of that's something that I learned too. I feel good that that's something that has helped me become the highest version of myself already. I really love this format. I really love talking about my own experiences or something that I'm currently working on. These are great things that I think we can all resonate with and really come together as a group or a community and share our stories to be like, hey, I've been through this too, and this is the things that have helped me. Again, look out for more of these and solo episodes coming up. And if you liked any part of this episode, please clip it, tag me in it. And as always, guys, let's fall in love with the process of getting better every day, becoming the highest version of ourselves. I love y'all so much. Peace.